What's going on? How are you? Before I go in and talk to you about secure attachments, which is the topic for today, I just need to wait and see if this microphone is working because it's been hit and miss with audio, and I need some sort of a thumbs up. And if you're jumping on right now and you're listening, tell me if the audio is cutting off or tell me if it's actually working. So I'm just going to wait until somebody just jumps on and tells me because I don't want to go 30 minutes, 45 minutes. At one point, that's what I did. I did a whole transmission for 45 minutes and it was pure awesomeness if I do say so for myself. Yanni, hey, Yanni, I know I see you jumped on. Can you give me a thumbs up right now? Let me know how the sound is because I'm about to talk about probably the most important topic. This is the reason why we're all really here and why we're learning what we're learning. Let me know if you can hear this. Can you write down in the comment section the sound is clear? There's no audio problems. The sound is good. I see your thumbs up, but is there anything else? Can you tell me if this is clear? Mm. Go ahead and write it in the comment section. Great sound. Okay, good. Awesome. Thank you. So check this out. Um, the reason why I'm having this conversation is I teach what I needed the most to hear. And I'm teaching everything that I'm sharing with you is not just to tell you what to do, it's to share with you my journey in realizing what's really important in this whole healing game. Being a chiropractor for the last 18 years, by the way, Yanni, it's good to have you. How do you like my shirt? My parents bought me this shirt a little while ago. And the reason why I'm wearing it right now is because in 3 hours, I'm about to do how to connect to a disconnected child. I'm about to do one of my workshops. It's a 3 hour workshop that I'm going to be helping parents become more conscious and make their parenting a spiritual practice. So this is for parents who really want to make their parenting a spiritual practice. The hint is that it's with any relationship, but we're specifically going to be working with whatever triggers you most about your son or daughter. And we're going to, instead of getting furious and snapping, we're going to use some tools, some magical tools to find out what's coming up for us. And we're all doing it together. There's about 17 people that are attending. This mainly for my clients and people who are really keen, who aren't clients already, but just want to participate in the game and in the conversation and do some healing work and take responsibility. Yeah, thank you. So I'm just getting all dolled up because that's coming up soon, and so that's what it is. But essentially, the whole point of the work is to be able to take in relationships, in life, whatever conflicts us, confronts us, that causes an energetic, emotional block in our lives that causes us to go into fight, flight, or freeze, dysregulating our nervous system, knocking us off of balance. We are sadly ill equipped to be able to bring ourselves back into our purposes. Okay? And we don't learn the skills in taking those difficult conflicts, whether they're personal conflicts, internal ones, whether they're external conflicts. We are very poorly equipped in learning how to navigate these conflicts in our lives. And they show up in our relationships, they show up in business relationships. This inability to self-regulate our emotions, this inability to really see ourselves, causes us to behave in very unconscious and insecure ways, in ways of not really being able to share feelings that come up, share a boundary with someone, in overtly pleasing behaviors, in self-abandonment, and this causes great what we think is sabotage. It causes breakdowns in our relationships, and then if allowed to progress over a period of time, our bodies start to kind of fall apart as a result. And as a healthcare provider, I became very curious about this. Chiropractically, people are coming to me with stress related disorders, and if I just got to know all of them, there's usually a relationship breakdown that has a result. Hey, what's up, Charlie? Like, for example, if you had a business relationship breakdown, you're going to be experiencing a form of trauma because there's life is about attachments and losses, attachments and losses, attachments and losses. And each of these attachments and losses leave a stain in our nervous system. And we literally carry them with us. And we get into another relationship, business or personal, and or we have a child. And those incompletes from past relationships literally carry with us. We think that we're rid of those people and we can cancel them out of our lives, but the complex carries with us, and we show up as either we show up in relationships insecure. Okay, so I've been talking a lot about the conversation about creating secure attachments, because what is it that you really want in life? You might say a lot of money, and you might say, a house on the beach, and all of those external things. You might say the dream partner. But when people have done some research, those aren't the predictors of a satisfying relationship. The main predictor of your relationship being satisfying is the ability to create a secure attachment. Okay, Peter, what's up? Juliet, Maureen, Rebecca, what's going on? Rebecca, I can't wait to see you in a couple hours. I put my nice new shirt on. Well, not new, I'm putting on a nice shirt. I'm not going to be wearing my joggers for you guys, because we're going to dive deep in the next couple of hours how to connect to a disconnected child. Essentially, the net result of this work, what you want is that's going to predict satisfaction in your relationships, is a thing called secure attachments. And it was a big revelation for me, considering that most of the time until the age of my mid 40s, I realized that I was showing up in relationships as highly insecure. And there's two variations of insecurity that you show up in relationships. You show up as the insecure anxious or ambivalent, or you show up as the insecure avoidant. So you're either the pursuer in the relationship, or you're the distancer. So what I'd like for you to do is just take an inventory right now. I'd love for you to write it in the comment section. In your current relationship, or the last one, do you show up as the distancer? Get away, I need my space. Or do you show up as the one, oh, come back, love me, I want your attention. I'm just curious, because I'm going to talk to you about, I want you to get an inventory. Just get very real. It's like a little bit of a wake-up call. This is my transmissions are usually designed in a form of a wake-up call. So what is it? What is it that you show up? How do you show up? Do you show up needy as the pursuer, or do you show up as the avoidant or the distancer? And this is not a blame game. And here's the other kind of fun part about this, is that you can actually swing back and forth depending on your level of nervous system regulation. Depending on what's been triggering you around you, you can actually show up as one or the other. Let me know what resonates with you. Hey, Maureen, what's up? Jackie, nice to see you. Jacqueline. So how do you show up? Distancer. Okay, so Pete is the distancer. Yeah, that makes sense. How do you show up? Are you the distancer or the pursuer? Are you the avoidant or the anxious attached? So it's really important to know. Why is this important for you to know? Because most of the time, all of our relationships are completely unconscious. And by unconscious, I mean we are not aware of what our values are. We're not aware of what the other person's values are. And we put on a mask and we hide ourselves so that we don't risk rejection. So we pretty much put on a mask, and it's really inauthentic. It's not your fault. It's just there's a high likelihood that most of the relationships in our lives are based on these inauthenticities that are not your fault. They completely make sense because of our paralyzing need to our paralyzing fear of rejection. So we show up hiding ourselves. We show up insecure. Now, there's something that I really want to share with you. I made some notes here on my computer, and I wanted to share so that you can now understand what's the goal of the work. I want you to write this down. The goal of the work, or the goal of my healing work, is to create this one thing. And this one thing is the greatest predictor for how your experience is going to be on this planet. If you want to think in the next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, however many years you have left, you actually have a say in how those years are going to be. And the quality of those years, the satisfaction of those years are entirely predicated on this one thing. Want to know what that one thing is? That one thing is your ability to create secure. What is this game that we're playing? Why do you want to create that, and what does it feel like? Today's training is really about getting you to write down the specific qualities to get you to understand, where are you? Are you distancer? Are you pursuer? Or anxious, insecure, or avoidant insecure? So I'm going to be training you more. This will be more of the conversation as we go, because it's all about what trigger proof is about. Because when you really learn how to emotionally regulate, you now have a say in creating conscious relationships, because it's the triggers that knock us completely into unconsciousness. We start to act out in from a perspective of our wound. Our little 5-year old shows up, and you're not going to create a conscious relationship if you're showing up as your little 5-year old self unconsciously. The wise thing to do is to really own what that little fucker is, who he is, who she is, and bring them along with you, and to share yourself from the perspective of holding that wound close to you, not unconscious of it, but aware, and having the other person aware of their wounds, and you aware of theirs as well. That's what will create a conscious relationship. So, what does a secure attachment feel like? Does this make sense to you so far? Morning, morning. Hey, I feel like I'm a little bit of all of them at different times. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So, here's the goal, and that you're right, Marina. Marina, you're going to be, depending on what's happening. Here's the other thing I want you to write down is, I am not a fixed process. I am a dynamic process. In other words, my nervous system is constantly in flux. Depending on the ladder, I'm in a state of ventral vagal, where I feel safe and secure, and I feel kind of playful and safety. That's the ultimate, where you show up as the greatest security. And then what'll happen is you'll go into sympathetic, which is anxious and fearful, terrified. And then the lowest one is when you're in dorsal vagal shutdown, where you're kind of like shut down, dissociated, depressed, numb, completely just like depersonalized. So you're going to show up differently depending on where you are. So you're not a fixed process, but I wanted to do this training so that you can be able to recognize what a secure attachment feels like, so that you know what to aim for and what the goal of your work here is. That's the goal of every training, is to continuously guide you more towards a secure attachment, where you can take off the mask and say, this is who I am. This is what my desires are. This is what my fears are. This is what my needs are. Okay? And really not be living out of fear, guilt, and shame all the time. Okay? That's our insecure attachment. So I really want you to know, first and foremost, what that is. And so here's the little few notes that I made for you, so you can understand. First of all, a secure attachment, what it is it is your inherent biological design. Okay, it's what you have that capacity. So if you're anxious attached, if you're avoidant, you're disorganized, and you're constantly feeling unsafe in relationships, just know that it's my inherent biological design to be able to create a secure attachment. Which is the holy grail of creating satisfaction in your life, is the ability to create secure attachments. So it's your inherent biological design. What that means is it is waiting to be expressed within you. Okay, it's there. It's waiting to be expressed. Okay, and the goal of the work that we do in our programs with our clients, in our workshops, is to go from where you are currently in any part of that spectrum to this ideal secure attachment, which doesn't mean you don't have conflict. It just means you don't feel unsafe in them. Okay? And that's the ideal, but only if you're willing to do the work. Only if you're willing to a time, only if you're willing to get mentorship, only if you're willing to get the guidance, only if you're willing to do the work and have feedback. And don't think that you're going to sit there and journal your way into secure attachment. You're going to need, a mentor. You're going to need community. You're going to need somebody holding a mirror, calling out your incongruencies and having you look at yourself, and give you permission to, hey, here's the feedback, because you're going to require strategic feedback. So the goal of all of this work of becoming trigger proof is to get you to a place where you feel secure in a relationship with all of your relationships. And that's possible. It's your inherent biological design. So our goal here, and the trainings that we're doing tonight, over the weekend, the breath work, it's to help you go from where you are to this ideal, if you're willing to do the work. Okay? You got to ask two questions. Am I able to do the work? So physically, are you going through any brain injuries, which you can't sit there and go into your feelings and all that? The second part is, am I willing? That's the weird part. This is the funky part. The willing part is the scary part for people, because many are able, but are they willing? There's going to be some resistance. Those old egoic stories is what we hear constantly. The biggest thing in your way is the willingness, is the fear. Am I willing to write this one down? I'm willing to feel the fear in order to heal. In order to heal, I must be willing to feel fear. That's it. Okay? And what it is when you're in a secure attachment, you're responsive to your triggers rather than reactive to them. You're response able in a secure attachment. In an insecure relationship, you're making the other person responsible for your discomfort. You're making them responsible for fixing it. I remember in my last relationship, we'd be arguing a lot in the middle of the night, and she would constantly tell me, "So fix it! So fix it!" And some of the insecure relationship codependencies that I get into, even with men, will be they are putting responsibility on me to fix them rather than taking full responsibility. So one of the hallmarks of a secure attached relationship is I want you to imagine the possibility of being responsive rather than reactive to your triggers. And another hallmark, what a secure attachment feels like, is that being warm and loving in relationships, if you're securely attached, it just comes naturally to you. It's not a stretch for you to just kind of like be warm and loving. Okay, so people who are very cold and people who have like this wall up, especially when you look at their face and they have kind of like it's called the mask faces. There's a dysregulation in their nervous system. They're in dissociation. They don't have a very warm, pleasant look on their face because they're insecure attached. They're holding on to trauma. Okay, so you have to have be a healed individual. You have to do the work to healing those traumas so that you can show up it feels warm and loving in relationships, and that will come naturally to you. Another thing of how secure attachments feel like is that you enjoy being intimate without being overly worried about your relationships. Okay, you enjoy being intimate. So I'll get a message from someone just recently going, "Oh my God, I just finished, I just ended a relationship. I need someone to talk to. Please, can it be confidential? I'm a very, very private person." When somebody says that, "I'm a very private person," I can honestly, I get a sense, I'd rather do one-on-one. I'm a very private person. You are walking in a very insecure, attached type of scenario. In other words, there's a lot of guilt. You're holding a lot of shame. You say, when you're hiding behind, "I'm a private person," but what you're actually telling me is, "I'm ashamed of myself. I'm afraid of the judgment of other people." Which makes complete sense depending on the culture. There's a lot of cultural stuff going on. Persians, Indians, Greeks are big with this. Greeks are tough. Whoa! Like the Greek women that we've worked with, they've got some big kind of like walls around. They're deeply warm and loving, but there's a tough kind of exterior because of that fear of intimacy. There is a paralyzing fear of intimacy because intimacy means vulnerability. Vulnerability means pain. And oh my gosh, I don't know how to regulate myself. So there, you show up as insecure, attached, like an avoidant, or extremely needy as the codependent. So the next thing, as far as secure attachments, what do they feel like? Is you take things in stride when it comes to romance or friendship, and you don't get so easily upset in relationship matters. You take things in stride. You don't get so easily upset within relationship matters. That's what a secure attachment feels like. When you are in anxious attached, every little you obsess about every relationship matter. Does he like me? Does he not? Oh my god, he didn't like me. I'm just gonna, oh my gosh. You start to get agitated because there's not that approval coming in, and you're very easily stirred, and you detach from yourself, and then you show up as fawning, you show up as needy, and you completely abandon yourself. Let me know if this is resonating with you. But a secure attachment, here's another one. You effectively communicate your needs and your feelings in a relationship, and you're strong at reading your partner's cues. So here's the key. You're strong at reading your partner's cues, so you're not complete narcissist avoidant. You can read their cues. You're not completely averse to them, or you're not blind to them. You're strong at reading their cues. You're not like a narcissist, completely not. And you're comfortable and you feel safe sharing your needs and desires to them. That's what a secure attachment feels like. Okay? So you effectively communicate your needs, and you're good at reading your partner's cues. And here's another one. In a secure attachment, the next one is you share your successes and problems with your partner. Okay? And you're able to be there for them in times of need. So sometimes in codependency, you don't feel safe to share your needs, or that you don't feel that they're ever heard. Or you just talk about yourself, and the other person's needs and desires don't even exist. That's the dance that you guys have. That's classic unconscious codependency. That's the narcissist codependent dynamic. So you're either unconscious and insecure in that, or you're conscious and secure. And the goal of this work is to help you emotionally regulate, so that gradually over time you can create what's called a secure attachment. That's really what this whole work is about. That's really the most important thing. My ex was Greek, almost impossible to get her to open. Absolutely. Yeah. In order to heal, I must be willing to feel fear. Absolutely. So, Guy, absolutely. We are starting in like an hour and a half. I hope 2 hours and a half. I really hope, if you wanted, I think we mentioned it, you wanted to grab one of the last spots. It would be a lot of fun for you to join in on that healing journey. If the biggest thing that's going to be in your way is fear and excuses and all of that stuff, and we hear it all the time. The goal is to go from where you're at, where you had a narcissistic codependent dynamic, to own your part in it and to take on the climb towards healing. You're going to need to learn the art of self-observation. You're going to need to have a mentor guide you, and you're going to need to have a community with a structure to be able to help you heal the relationship with yourself. And we start that tonight. And the whole idea is to start the concept of creating a secure attachment. Because when you have that at home, guess what happens to your parenting? You're able to deeply connect with a disconnected child. And that's what tonight's, this afternoon, evening's training is all about. I believe, I just wanted to leave that for you here. We have space for one more person. We've pretty much filled it all up. It's for my clients. That's the wrong link. My apologies there. I'm going to delete, and we'll give you a link right here to jump in. And I have one space remaining where we're going to go in. There it is right there. Where we're going to go in and actually go over the fundamentals of creating security within yourself and your insecure attachment wounds and how they impact your children. And through not healing them, we then download the trauma onto them. So the reason why I'm doing this work is because I stand for healed families. And unconsciousness is what breaks them apart. So I'm really looking forward to it. Right now, I'm on my way up to up Mount Douglas to just get myself emotionally, mentally prepared for the training that's coming up tonight. There's about 17 of you that are already going to be showing up. And bring a pen, bring a box of tissues, get ready to connect with your children on a level that you've never connected before, possibly. You have if you've been a client of mine, but if you've just new to this work, prepare to connect with them on a level you've never connected before. PETA, I'd love for you to share, the impact of work on you and your ability to, connect with your kids. We're going to go over that. We're going to share stories. I'm going to show you the exact questions you need to ask. I'm going to guide you into a meditative kind of state. It's a hypno meditation. I call it the overview meditation, which is an active meditation to get you into the unconscious, the wounding. You're going to meet your younger self and really bring that person in, and you're going to use that younger self. Here's the little secret. You're going to use that younger self to connect with your disconnected child. Now, if you've ever read or listened to any of Dr. Shefali's work, The Conscious Parent, this is going to be a PhD in conscious parenting from a person who's got no business giving any parenting advice. So, PETA, make sure you share tonight or this afternoon for you or morning. And I will see you at the next perfect time. I'm off for a hike. I'm back in about an hour and a half to 2.5 hours to do our training for the community, how to connect to a disconnected child. If you're keen to becoming the super mom or the super dad that you've always wanted to be, and you've been looking and noticing that you've been disconnected, children have effect, and you really want to step up, I can't wait to show you how to do it. Namaste, and I'll see you later.